Hello everyone. Let's review shlokas 172 and 173 in Lalitha Sahasranamam. Stotrapriyā stutimatī śrutisaṃstuta vaibhavā manasvinī mānavatī maheśī maṅgaḻākṛtiḥ viśvamātā jagaddhātrī viśālākśhī virāgiṇī pragalbhā paramodārā parāmodā manomayī. Let's take a look at the meanings of the namas in these two shlokas. The first nama here is stotrapriyā. Stotram means hymns of praise. Priya means fond. So stotrapriyā means fond of the hymns of praise. Stutimatī. Stuti also means hymns of praise. Stutimatī means one who possesses hymns of praise, one who is the recipient of those hymns of praise. So let's take a look at this a little bit deeper. So all of us know many stotrams, and stotrams are all on all gods, whether it is Devi, any other god, right? So these stotrams actually are of 6 types. If you look at the stotram, it may be talking about the different forms of the god. Amba, Shambhavi, Aparna, Uma, Parvati, like that, different forms of god. The stotram could also be about the divine plays of the god, which is about victory over evil. So the divine leelas of the god, Chanda Munda Nishudini, that is talking about the victory over Chanda and Munda. So that is one type of stotram. And there are stotrams that talk about the qualities of the god. Avyaja Karunamurti, Sarva Padvi Nivarini, highly compassionate, will destroy all the obstacles, and those kind of things, talking about the qualities of God. Then there are stotrams which explain the essence of the God, the tatparyam. So like Chitis Tatpada Lakshyartha. So like that is explaining the essence or the principle of realities, or even the more Vedanta aspect of it, right? So talking about her as a ultimate reality. So that is one type. And then there are shlokas that talk about how we worship the god, or how we respect and revere and honor the god. Namastestu mahamaye. So the namaha says we bow down to you. And then there are shlokas that are all about what we want from God. So if you look at Chamakam, it lists 347 things that they want Shiva to give. So those are all the different types of stotrams. So what is the purpose of all of these stotrams? First of all, if you take God, God is that one ultimate reality, right? That ultimate reality is highly abstract, and it's beyond the comprehension and vocabulary of human beings. So it's very hard to establish connection with that ultimate reality. And what these stotrams do is they try to describe it in a way that we can understand, and therefore help us establish that connection with the divine. So what is the advantage or benefit to us in establishing that connection to the divine? If we chant these stotras and establish that connection to divine and try to understand a little bit about that ultimate reality, what benefit do we get? The nama stotimatī tells us that. It can be also split as stuti, mati, e. Mati means intelligence. In this context, we can think about it as intellect. So the chanting of these stotras cleanses our buddhi, and our buddhi currently is clouded, and that if when it is cleansed, then we are able to see things as they are. Everything that we see through our own lens, and that lens is conditioned by our own circumstances, our life experiences, who we are, what we think ourselves to be, how we think of this world. All that influences how we look at anything, and that's a lens all of us are wearing, but we are not aware of it. And only when the buddhi gets cleansed, we'll be able to remove that lens, and when we remove that lens, we'll see things as they are. So mati, or buddhi, gets purified or cleansed. And then also gets e. E means Aishwaryam. You can think of it as wealth, but it's more about well-being. So when our buddhi is clear, when we are able to perceive things as they are, then we will get into a state of being always at peace. Our inner peace is protected. We are always able to be happy and protect ourselves from anything that can impact our inner peace and happiness. So the stotrams are a way for us to get to a better state of mind and through that derive happiness. And that's why she is very fond of these stotrams. The next nama here is śrutisaṃstuta vaibhavā. Shruti means Vedas. Samstuta means celebrated. Vaibhavam means honor or glory. So śrutisaṃstuta vaibhavā means she has the honor or unique distinction of being celebrated by all the Vedas. And if you look at all the Vedas, they always have a Vedanta at the end of the Vedas. That's why we call them Vedanta, and that's none other than Upanishads. And all the Upanishads always try to explain about that ultimate reality, which is none other than Lalitha, and therefore she is celebrated by the scriptures. The next nama here is manasvinī. Manavini is the split. Manam, as we all know, is mind. Vini means to control, to tame. So manasvinī means one who has tamed her mind, one who has controlled her mind. There are two ways to look at it. One is, we can say, Lalitha as the ultimate reality is beyond the mind, and therefore the mind is something that is under her control, right? That is one way to look at it. And obviously everything that happens in this universe is according to her will, and therefore she is able to exert her will without the influence of her mind. If you look at it, some of us can't say that. We'll decide, okay, tomorrow morning I'm going to get up, do a exercise. I'll get up in the morning. But then when the alarm goes off, it's like, please let me sleep for some more time, right? So we are not always able to exert our will, but Lalitha is able to. That is one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, when you worship her, she helps you control your mind. So we become able to better control our mind by worshipping her. So that is another way to look at it. In general, many of us are not even aware that we can control our mind. Generally, we think controlling our mind or controlling all these senses and all that is for those people who are in the spiritual discipline. Sannyasis can do that. No, that's what. For normal people who are engaged in everyday life, we don't think about controlling our mind. But if you see, our mind has to be conditioned. Our mind can be our best friend or our worst enemy, and it all depends upon how we condition our mind. So if you look at all of us in our everyday life, our happiness depends on three things. One is our body, right? How we feel on that particular day, our body has a big influence. There are aches and pains, then you're not going to be very happy that day. So there is our body. Then our mind. If you're feeling sad, angry, jealous, etc., then that's not going to be a happy day. And the third thing is how this world interacts with us, right? So things that are beyond us, outside of us in this world. So if somebody, a co-worker is yelling at you or is being very rude or harsh towards you, then that impacts your happiness level that day. So these are the three things that determine our happiness level. In that, if you see this external world, people other than you, whether all the co-workers will be nice to you, your family members will be nice to you, someone who, are driving on the road, and will the traffic be all right? These are all things that are completely outside of our control. How this world will interact with us is not something that we can determine. And the next one, if you take our body is also not entirely under our control. There are definitely things that we can do in order to maintain our health. We can eat good diet. We can make sure we are doing all the exercises. We can also, keep our body clean. All these, everything to preserve our health, we can definitely do. But if you see, our body is not really under our control. If it was completely under control, we should know what's going on in our body. But if you see, we won't know what's inside our body. That's why everybody has to go for a scan or something like that to tell what is inside their own body. So the body is also not under our control. Even though we are used to thinking of it as our own body, we don't control it. And so what is left is mind, and that's the only thing that can be under our control. And that is where the conditioning of the mind comes into play. Because no matter what's going on outside ourselves, and no matter what's going on with the things that are not under our control, we can always choose how we respond to all of those. And that is within our ability. And if we decide to adjust our mindset, and that's where we have a mindset, then we can always overcome what's happening outside and still maintain our core inner peace. And therefore, by maintaining that inner peace, we can always be in a place of happiness. And that is possible. So when we go through all these stotras, chanting, and direct our senses, slowly our mind comes under our control, and therefore the way we respond to this world could also change, and it could change in a way that will allow us to preserve our inner peace. And that is something that Devi is able to give all of us. The next nama is Mānavatī. Mānavatī means one who is noble, one who has a lot of integrity, courage, generosity. All of that is called as Mānavatī. And Mānavatī, you can also call it as one who has a high mind. Maheśī. Maheśī can be split as Maha Ishi. Maha means supreme, Ishi means ruler. So she is the supreme ruler. Another way to look at it is Mahesha is Shiva, and she is the wife of Shiva, therefore she is Maheśī. Maṅgaḻākṛtiḥ. Maṅgaḻākṛtiḥ. Mangalam means everything that's auspicious. Akriti means form. So she is the form of auspiciousness. So anything you want to use the word, she is the one who gives auspiciousness to Shiva himself. Shiva is also called auspicious. And the attribute of auspiciousness comes from Devi. So she is the form of auspiciousness. Another way to look at it is she has an auspicious form. So you can see with Devi, she has this kumkumam, she's wearing flowers, she's dressed so beautifully. So everything about her looks very auspicious. The next nama here is viśvamātā. Vishvam means universe. Mata means mother. So viśvamātā, she is the mother of the universe. And Vishvam also means all or everyone. And so she is Viśvamātā in that she is the mother of all. Whether it is a small ant to the creator Brahma, everybody is her creation and she is the mother of all. Jagaddhātrī. Jagat and Dhatri. Jagam can be considered as world. Dhatri means one who gave or one who supports. So, bestower of the world, that is one way to look at it. As the creator, she is the one who gave us this universe. But the another way to look at it is Jagam always has a connection to something that's moving. So that means it also implies people and animals. And Dhatri means supporter. So she is the supporter of all the things that are moving in this world, all the people and animals. And if you see in her creation, everything in her creation has its unique characteristics. It has its own things that it will eat. It has a way of nourishing itself to sustain its life. It has a way of reproducing. It has a way of defending its life. And it also has a predator or some other cause that brings its end. So if you see every single thing, and there are so many lakhs of species here, and everything is unique in its own way, and that's how she has supported it. So she is the one who supports this world. Viśālākśhī. Viśālākśhī. Viśālam can be broad. Akshi means eyes. So she has broad eyes is one way to look at it. There we also have another nama, Dharandolita Dirghakshi. So she has eyes that go from her ear all the way up to her nose, that broad eyes. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at Viśālākśhī is Vigata Shala Akshi. So vigata means devoid of, and shala means wall, and the wall means obstruction, and akshi means eyes. That means she is able to see beyond all obstructions. So if you look at all of us, our eyes have a certain range, right? And if there is a wall, we can't see beyond the wall directly from where we are standing, and we also can't see behind us. Whereas Devi has no such obstructions, and Devi can see everything. So Devi sees everything and sees the entire of us. So there is nothing that can be hidden from Devi's view. And also, with that, even though she sees everything, she sees all of us, and all of us have good things and bad things, but she accepts all of it, and she also has a broad perspective. And no matter whether we do good things or bad things, if we reach out and say, I made a mistake, please help me now, she always comes to help us. So in that, she is not judgmental, and she is able to accept that entirety. So viśvamātā means one who has a broad eyes and broad perspective. Virāgiṇī. Virāgiṇī can be looked at in two ways. Virāgiṇī. So ragam in Sanskrit means passion. Viragam means dispassion. So one who is not attached to anything, she has no passion. So the height of detachment, and that's what we all aim to be, right? It is our attachment and which makes us immerse deeper and deeper into the samsara. And if we are able to step up a level, even if we are not completely dispassionate, if we are able to have limited attachment, then we are able to better manage our life. And that's what Bhagavad Gita says. And Devi is dispassionate and has no attachment. Interestingly, this verb vi in Sanskrit is an interesting one, where at the same time it can mean the opposite, or it can mean something that is more intense of the word that it's connected with. So in this case, virāgiṇī can be interpreted as without passion, in that ragam is passion, viragam is opposite, dispassion. Another way to look at it is virāgiṇī also means intensely passionate. So Devi represents, always everything about Devi is red, and red means passion, and she is intensely passionate. And this is a very interesting nama which exactly represents Devi. She is everything and nothing all at the same time, and Virāgiṇī is dispassionate and intensely passionate at the same time. Pragalbhā. Pragalbhā means resolute. Paramodārā. Parama udara. Parama means supreme. Udara means generous. So she's supremely generous. In Tamil, we call it vallal. So that means they keep giving, never say no. So she is like that, supremely generous. Paramodā. Parāmodā. Para again is supreme. Amoda means delight. So she is the supreme delight. So that means Devi is the bliss. She is capable of bringing that delight into our lives. Manomayī. Manomayī means the one who is, manam is mind, and mayī means embodiment of mind. It's said that there are 5 sheets that inside which the soul is enclosed. So the outermost layer is called as Annamaya Kosha. So this Annamaya Kosha represents the physical body, and it is nourished with food. It's everything that you build up with food. And then the next one is Pranamaya Kosha, which is all your energy, right? So we all say, in a day when I'm feeling very energetic today. So that's all your Pranamaya Kosha, and it's all about our breath. And then next is a Manomaya Kosha. So this is the place where we have our thoughts, emotions, feelings. That's the Manomaya Kosha. Then we have Vijnanamaya Kosha. This is the place of intellect, intuition. All of that is in Vijnanamaya Kosha. And then the last one is, the last sheath is called as Anandamaya Kosha, which is the sheath of bliss, complete happiness. And the soul is supposed to be embodied within all of it. And if you see, interestingly, the first two, Annamaya and Pranamaya, is all about food and energy. It's like in the physical realm, if you will, something that you can alter. And then the Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya is in the realm of intuition, right? So, and the Manomaya is right between the two. So, Vijnanam and Anandam, they're all at a higher plane, right? And the Manomaya is right in between these two. So, what it represents is it is Devi who can help you decide to go between the physical realm or go to the next level. That is Devi who can make that happen. And again, our mind decides whether we continue to stay at the food and energy and the material world level, or we move to the next level where we cleanse our intellect and achieve that bliss. So, with that, we have looked at all the namas in these two shlokas, and now let's look at a story related to the nama Viśvamātā. So, once sage Agastya went to Naimisaranya. So, this Naimisaranya is somewhere near Uttar Pradesh, and Naimisaranya has a unique honor in that it will not be touched by the effects of Kali. So, in Kali Yugam, as we all know, people become very greedy, etc., and dharmam is reduced a lot. But in Naimisaranya, that will be preserved. So, naturally, a lot of sages, about 80,000 of them, all went to Naimisaranya so they can be protected from the effects of Kali. So, with so many sages there, if you see, every day there are all these chanting spiritual things that are happening. And the sages in Naimisaranya were especially devoted to Shiva. And out of that, they were really fond of Visvesha. So, Visvesha is the Vishwanatha in Kashi. And Vishwanatha in Kashi, out of all the lingams, is supposed to be the most important, and he rules the universe from there. So, they were very fond of Visvesha. So, every day they will put the holy ash, they will chant Rudram Chamakam, and then they will always be saying Visvesha, Visvesha. And if they open their mouth, they can only talk about the greatness of Visvesha and the greatness of the city Kashi, because Shiva is very, very fond of Kashi. It is his own city. So, they can only talk about all of that. And so, when sage Vyasa went there, he heard all about how great Kashi is, how great Visvesha is, and he kept on hearing that, and a thought came in sage Vyasa's mind as to what these people are always talking so highly of this city. Really? Is it that good? Let me go find out for myself. How can that be? Let me go find out how great it is. I want to check whether their estimation is correct or not. So then sage Vyasa went to Kashi along with all his disciples. And as you all know, sages, they will do, 3 times a day, they will take bath, they will do all the rites, and then they'll only eat by taking alms from other people. They don't own any possessions. And then they're always doing all this rituals that they're supposed to do. So sage Vyasa came to Kashi, and on that particular day, first day, he did all the right rituals that they're supposed to do, and he went out to get some alms. And he went, everywhere he went, he could not find anybody to give anything to eat that particular day. And sage Vyasa was a little bit surprised, because all these people in Naimisharanya were talking about how great Kashi is, and then Viśālākśhī is in Kashi. She is Annapurani. She's made sure everybody gets food. Nobody will say no to the sages, and everybody is so generous. He's heard all of this, and he came here first day. Nobody gave him any food. Then he went back to his ashram, wherever he was staying, and then found that none of his disciples also got any food that day. So first day was gone. Fine, they are used to, whatever they get, they will eat. Otherwise, they will manage. First day also, they finished like that. Next day morning, as usual, they woke up. They did all their rites. Today they said, no, let's go try to get, a bit early so that we'll get something to eat. Second day also, they are going and finding, trying to ask for alms. Second day also, nothing, no alms at all. No, and not just Vyasa, none of his disciples got. So at the end of second day, they're all in their hermitage. Now it's evening, and sage Vyasa is wondering, 2 continuous days we haven't gotten anything. It's not just that I didn't get, none of you also got. We have to find out what's going on here. Either there must be some major disaster that's happening that nobody is able to give food, or the king must have put some order and that's why everybody is following it, or third possibility, somebody is specifically telling all of these people not to give food to us. So it has to be one of the three. And it, because it is really surprising that we didn't find any food after 2 full days. So he gets a few of his disciples on the second day evening, and he says, go find out what's happening in Kasi, investigate. So now these people are roaming about. It is just slightly after sunset. So they are going everywhere and finding out what's happening. And then once they finish all their touring and figuring out stuff, they come back. And so they come to Sage Vyasa, and they say, Sage Vyasa, there is no disaster here. I don't think the king has said anything. When we went around, I'm surprised the people in Kasi are so wealthy. Even Kubera may not have so much wealth, but these people have so much wealth. And then when we look at it, all the people are behaving perfectly. Women are very chaste, men are all focused on the right duties. Everybody is behaving properly, and they are completely focused on doing the Dharma Shastras. Wherever I went, I heard all these Vedic chants, and everybody seems to be proficient. These are all scholars in Vedas, so they're all focused. And then on top of it, this is the city of Visvesha. So sins cannot even come anywhere here. So the moment somebody comes to Kasi, they're guaranteed salvation, and therefore they're not even thinking negative. So this Kashi seems to be the city of Lakshmi, and this seems to be the city of Saraswati, and it seems to be the city of Shiva, Vishvesha, and therefore everything is perfect here. So we are not able to find out why we did not get alms in the last 2 days. And so hearing that, sage Vyasa said, say it one more time. And then they said, Kashi is the city of Lakshmi, Kasi is the city of Saraswati, and Kasi is the city of Vishvesha. And hearing that, sage Vyasa became very angry. He thought, oh, here, because Vishvesha is here, their salvation is guaranteed. Because of that, these people have all become very complacent, and then on top of it, they're all scholars, so they have the garvam. They're also wealthy, so they don't have to respect anybody. That's why they did not give us any alms. And so he got very upset, and he cursed the city of Kashi, and he said, nobody will have wealth for 3 generations, nobody will have all the education for 3 generations, nobody will have salvation for 3 generations. And so he cursed Kasi. And then that's it, they all went to sleep. And then the next day morning, now they are not sure, 2 days have gone and they have not eaten, everybody is very hungry, but regardless, they went ahead and asked for alms. And sage Vyasa was walking down a particular street. Now he's gone everywhere and he still didn't find any food that day, and now this is almost close to midday. And then he's walking, and he was calling in a particular house, nobody came out, and he got very upset. And he has this vessel, or a small ode they call it, and that's where he takes the food. And he just took that and threw it on the ground because he was so frustrated about not finding food for 2.5 days now. And then as he was walking, suddenly he found a lady who's standing outside a house, and the lady looked so pious. Just looking at her was filling sage Vyasa with bliss. Imagine, he has not eaten for 2.5 days, but still he feels that. And then the lady looks at sage Vyasa and she says, I want to feed a Brahmin today, sage, and I've not been able to find anybody. No matter who I ask, everybody's saying they've already eaten. But my husband is a bit old, and he's at home, and he's finished all his regular duties, and he will not eat unless and until he feeds Brahmin. So will you please come to our house and have food? And so sage Vyasa is so happy. Already her form was very happy. Now she's saying, we'll give food, sage or not, after 2.5 days. He's really happy. And so he asked, definitely I will come and eat in your house, but I have two conditions. If you're able to do that, then I will be able to come to your house. So then the lady asked, yeah, please tell me what are those conditions. She said, first of all, I'm not alone. My disciples are with me, and they are 10,000 of them. So I have 10,000 disciples here with me. So if you want to feed me, you have to feed all the 10,000 disciples. Is that something that you're able to do? And then the lady smiled and she said, because of my husband, I have ensured that I'm never lacking for anything. Our household is always filled with supplies. So I will never run out of food. So whomever comes, I will be able to serve everybody. And then Sage Vyasa was a bit surprised. He said, just think again. There are 10,000 of them. Will you be able to feed all of them? And then she said, no problem. I will be able to feed all of them. And then he said, my second condition is that I will not eat after sunset. Therefore, you have to feed me before sunset. And already it was midday, right? So there was only a few more hours left. So she said, oh, no problem at all. Don't waste any more time. Go get all your 10,000 disciples. Come back here. I will instantly feed all of you. So immediately, Sage Vyasa went to the ashram and he told everybody, come, there is a person who's wanting to feed us. So all 10,000 of them come, and when he comes in the same place, that lady is still standing. So then he's happy to see her again, and therefore she takes him inside their house. From outside, it looks like a small house, but when they go inside, they realize that this is a great palace. It is decked with gold and all the gemstones and all that, and just the whole the sunlight falling on it, and the gold and gemstones and the glitter in there. It feels like they've just gone to a heavenly place. And then as soon as they go in there, they're seeing that everything is all set right. So then Sage Vyasa smiles and says, oh, looks like you got all the food prepared for the 10,000 disciples. You said you always have everything. Are you able to give them what each one likes? And then she said, no problem at all. I will take care of it. And then as soon as they went in, they were all, so many people came to help, and they made them all sit in a row, and all the plantain leaf was set. And it looked as if it was just placed there. In a minute, all the food was served, and they had all the different types. And interestingly, each person's plantain leaf looked different, because she had made sure whatever that individual likes is there on their plantain leaf. So now everybody was so happy. The food looked delicious. It's all their favorite food, and the aroma was great. It looked delicious, and it was all instantly served. So what more to ask? They all ate to their heart's fill, and they were served so well. And the lady herself came around to everybody and said, do you want more? Can I give you something else? Can I, please eat this? So they were all taken, such a good care exercised in serving them. So Sage Vyasa and all his disciples were so happy. Their stomach was full and their heart was also full. So then when they came, she gave them all, dhotis, and then all the things, tambulam, everything. And then she thanked them all for coming. And so Sage Vyasa said, you know what, you have treated us so nicely, with so much respect, with so much care. And I'm very, very happy. So I want to bless you both. Where is your husband? So then she took him, and in a court, there was this old man who was sitting there. And so Sage Vyasa went there and said, amazing hospitality. Thank you so much. We are very, very pleased with what you and your wife have provided for us. So then the lady was there, and she said, thank you so much for coming. Now that you are a learned man, can you please tell us what is the dharma for people who are living in the city of Kasi? What are we supposed to do? So immediately Sage Vyasa said, the dharma that you're doing now is the best. Your husband wants to serve somebody before he eats, and therefore you've taken all this pains to go find someone and then cook all this food and feed them. This is your dharma, lady. Whatever your husband wants, that's what you should do. Then the lady said, no, I wasn't asking about what is the dharma for the women. I want you to tell some dharma that is common for everybody. So at that time, Sage Vyasa said, because you asked me, and Sage Vyasa has done all this. He compiled all this Vedas, he's written Puranas, he's done Mahabharata, everything. So he is qualified to say what is the Dharma. So he felt like he had to tell them. He said, the Dharma that everybody is supposed to follow, you should speak words that are not disgusting or distressing to other people. And if someone is better than you, in a better position than you, then you should not be envious of them. You should not be jealous. You should be able to bear the betterment of other people. If they are in a higher position than you should be able to bear that. And then third is, you have to do your duties, and you have to do your duties with an intention to seek liberation or moksha. So these are the common things that everybody has to do. So as soon as he said that, this old man who was sitting in the court, who stood up and said, Sage Vyasa, how many of these did you adhere to? And the moment that question was asked, Sage Vyasa felt very guilty, because just the previous day he cursed Kasi, because they said, oh, Kasi is the city of Lakshmi, Kasi is the city of Saraswati, Kasi is the city of Shiva. Then Sage Vyasa thought these people were becoming complacent because they had everything. They were in a better position. So he thought that's the reason they weren't giving alms. So he was not able to bear the ascendancy of others or something being better, and therefore he cursed. So immediately Sage Vyasa realized that that was wrong of him, and he felt guilty. And also it dawned on him that if they knew about this curse, then the people who are standing right in front of him are not anyone who is ordinary. And then he realized the old man and his wife are none other than Viśvamātā and viśālākśhī. So he immediately fell at Shiva's feet, Viśvamātā's feet, and said, oh, I'm very sorry, I made a mistake. But Viśvamātā was very upset that he cursed the city of Kashi, which means that curse is on all the people of Kashi. And so Shiva said, you know what, it was very wrong on your part to curse all the inhabitants. They did nothing wrong to you. And you cursed because you did not get food. It's not like for the well-being of the world that you cursed. You cursed because you did not get your food. And that was a very bad thing to do. Somebody of your stature must have known not to do that. And therefore he said, because you curse Kashi, I banish you from Kashi, and you can never come into Kashi. So Sage Vyasa felt very bad, but he also understood that what he did was wrong. But at the same time, he did not want to be banished from Kashi. Kashi is the city of salvation. Anybody who is in Kashi immediately will get mukti. So he did not want to be banished, and therefore he immediately looked at Viśālākśhī and he said, Amma, what I did was really wrong, but please do not completely banish me. When Shiva has said something, nobody can change that. But you are one person who is capable of getting Shiva to move from his stance. So you please tell him, at least on Ashtami and Chaturdasi, that is the 8th day and 14th day, let me be allowed into Kashi. Only if you say he will listen. Please, Amma, please do something. Viśālākśhī is compassionate. She is the embodiment of compassion. So when Sage Vyasa asked for it, Viśālākśhī was very moved, and therefore she looked at Viśvamātā, and Viśvamātā immediately agreed. And therefore she said, Viśālākśhī told Sage Vyasa that he will be allowed in Kashi on Ashtami and Chaturdasi. So even today, if you go to Kashi, there is a separate Kashi called Vyasa Kashi, also called as Ramnagar. So it is believed that Sage Vyasa comes on the Ashtami and Chaturdasi to Kashi. So this is a story of Sage Vyasa and Viśālākśhī, and actually there is a Viśālākśhī stotram that was composed by Sage Vyasa. And this is a story from the Skanda Purana, from the Kasi Kanda, and it said that anybody who listens to this story will not have any fear of any troubles. They can conquer all their troubles. That's all for today. Thank you.